Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show. Welcome to your Tuesday morning edition of Second Breakfast. Just waiting for the morning reprobates, whoever they might be, for this particular morning as I sit back and paint up some Reaper Dungeon Dweller miniatures. I got all of them with a few minor exceptions. Primer Black, Zenithal Gray, then Ivory. I'm leaving the hero characters that I showed off last night in the Dungeon Dwellers video. I'm going to primer those white, or maybe I'll primer them beige and then dry brush white because I want them to be brighter. They're the heroes. They should be kind of easier to see. And the dragon, which I'm not sure what color I'm going to paint it, so I'm just going to leave that to last. It is the biggest model in the set, but I'm also looking through Reaper's catalog to see where I can replace these 3D prints with um, metal or the gray plastic bones, because I do not like the 3D prints. They're too flimsy and fragile for my tastes. And like I was saying this morning, I'd like this particular Kickstarter box set to last as long as humanly possible. My original Heritage box sets are close to 50 years old, and they're still playable. I can still do everything with. The only thing I have to be careful with is the instruction pamphlet. It's a 50-year-old paper. It's pretty flimsy, but 40-year-old paper. In 2029, it'll be 50 years old. So, so how's everybody doing out there in TV land? I see we've got a whole bunch of nobody watching right now. I guess you guys are all doing other things this morning. That's fine. Um, I was playing in Bubba's uh, Dragon Slayer game last night, and my scrawny little first level fighter managed to kill uh, one of the very things that I just happened to be painting at the time. I was painting. Ooh, I thought that was glued on. I guess not. I was painting these fire beetles that are made out of clear plastic, and all I did was give them a really bright neon orange undercoat just on the bottom. But it just see how it all shines through. And I did give them a little wash of the new Reaper, not Reaper, Army Painter orange wash, which I've been waiting for an orange wash for freaking years. And I just hit that line right there and let it go into the cracks. As you can see, this guy came with a freaking broken off antenna. I was kind of pissed about that. Um, but if you look at from the side, you can kind of see how I didn't paint them. But if you look at them from straight down, they're bright neon orange, and it's kind of a cool effect. And I did the legs black with a black speed paint. Just I'm gonna do a little better job on them later, but just to see. But it was fun because we went into a room and there were like three fire beetles, and I ran up on one, whoosh, critical hit, killed it right out, and that was fun because I was painting the very creatures. Yeah, it's kind of a rare thing. I mean, what are the odds that the DM, because he didn't know what I was painting, and in the room was the very thing I was painting. But I also, that's weird. I also was playing around with these two colors that I just absolutely love, and they're actually Reaper paints. One is called Alien Goo. That's this green one right here. And while you're like, it's just a lime neon greenish color, it's a lot more than that, as I'll show you in just a moment. And then this blue color, more like a turquoise, called Phantom Glow. It doesn't really glow, but it's a neat color. Um, and I painted this wraith or specter with those two colors. And I'm going to go over his blue area with a lighter. Maybe I'll just add a little bit of white to it, and lighten up the phantasmal glow color. But and the green, I'll do the same thing maybe with, or maybe give it a green wash to get some green in between the fingers, and then go back, dry brush it with that, and then highlight it with a lighter color of that. But those colors really pop, don't they? Um, in retrospect, I maybe shouldn't have painted the face that green, but I was thinking of the old video. You guys remember that old song by Kansas, "Play the Game Tonight," where there's the two hooded figures playing chess? And I was thinking of that. I'm like, yeah, I'll try to, you know, because their faces are like TV screens in their hoods, and there's different imagery going off, and on one side is good, one side is bad imagery to show the black and the white playing chess. But then I painted this banshee, and while part of it broke off when I was taking the supports off it because it's a 3D print and made out of poison, um, it came across with a lot more ghostliness to it. You guys tell me. Um, it's just this those two colors and the hair, which doesn't really look like it, is this neon yellow, and I'm going to have to keep going over and make that yellow a little stronger because it does kind of look like the green. But I don't know if I can. You guys can see this. Nah, the camera really isn't just cooperating. But that's one. I just went and hit the face one time with a dry brush, like one stroke whoosh, of my brush with uh, the green color for her face, and it just, if you could see what I see, it's a perfect dry brush, just like, oh, don't need to do anything else. Like I was telling James L, I'd like to do her lips in a blue or white, just to give that, but I'm just gonna go with this. Uh, a couple of little passes with lighter shades of the blue again on her dress, but this really, it really pops. It really looks like a ghost. Hey, what's up, Steven? So I'm really really happy with that, and I had some extra blue in my palette, so I took this armored skeleton and I made his cloak that blue color. Um, but everything else is going to be rusty and grungy, and I will probably take the neon and the yellow and try to make his sword look a little magical if I can. I don't know what I'm going to do about the eyes. Probably just a neon orange to really make him, look kind of scary. But I also did these giant centipedes. Uh, they're okay. The green and the yellows just mushed together too much. It's hard to tell where one. And then I also did this carrion thing with just the green, but I'll hit some yellow up and a bunch of maybe crusted gore or something messy to make him look like he's been feasting on the garbage in the dungeon. But that's about all I got done last night. Oh wait, no, I used one of my favorite colors, which is really weird. That's one of my favorite colors because I'm not a earth tone guy, but sand golem for the giant ticks. Um, Nope, my battery is almost dead. Oh no! Bear with me, folks. I thought I charged this when I went to bed, but I guess not. Uh, Sorry, James L. It was the internet that died last night. Hey, Julia, how you? You come and go as you please around here. We don't stand on any sort of formality unless like I don't know, unless it's like the holidays or something. We just come and go as you please. You're always welcome to hang out with us. Um, I'd love to hear what everybody else is working on, crafting, painting. As you know, the squirt gun challenge ticks. I know, right? Giant ticks. They're ugly, nasty. We don't have them where I live, I've never even seen one in person, but if I do see eating meat, that would be that'd be a deal breaker. I'm just saying. And uh, so yeah. Oh, Armstrong hit me up this morning. Because the squirt gun challenge is where you take a super soaker like this, and you try to make it look. What's up, Dean? You try to make it like a ray gun from like a TV show or a movie. Just be careful and not make it look like a real gun. But Armstrong, he hits me up with, I can't find any squirt guns. Can I just make one from scratch? And I'm like, oh shit, here it comes. He's gonna take $2 in plastic car to make everybody look freaking terrible, and I'm gonna have to send him a creature from the Black Lagoon to Ireland, which is fine. I don't mind. I wish everybody the best of luck, because you guys get to decide whose finished project is the best, not me. If there is a tie, I break the tie, but the likelihood of that is pretty slim. And art, whatever we make, doesn't count. We're not going to win our own prize because I'm trying to get rid of stuff, not like win my own stuff. I can just you know buy it again, and I'm giving it away because it's an extra. I have two of the creature from the Black Lagoon statuettes, from like the 60s. It's either from the 60s or the 80s, but either way, it's an old, it's about a 6-inch tall statue of Gilman, or the creature from the Black Lagoon. I should have wore that shirt today, where he's doing the thing, but he glows in the dark. He's made out of glow in the dark plastic, and as you guys know, I've got a thing for all things that glow in the dark. Ever since a little kid, I think the first thing I ever got that glowed in the dark was, I think it was honeycomb cereal. Hey, what's up, Berlin? Sean. Um, I got this in honeycomb cereal. There was a little fold out poster of Frankenstein's face. And he was pretty scary as a kid. I couldn't have been 10 years old, maybe younger. And, so I taped it to my bedroom door, and, going to bed, before I opened my door, he'd be like, it was just his face. And I'm like, God, that is so neat that it glows in the dark like magic, right? And then the next thing I got, this was pretty funny. I wish I still had it. I know I could find one. Um, it was a box about yay big, and inside it was a piece of genuine kryptonite. This guy saw me coming, and all the other customers. I opened it up, and it's a rock painted in glow in the dark paint. And it's just like from that point on, everything I could get my hands on that glow in the dark, I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna grab it, within reason. Of which I have yet to see anything that glows in the dark that I can't afford one way or the other. Thanks, Dean. Yeah, I've got glow in the dark paint, all kinds of glow in the dark plastics and things like that. I even have some. Check this out. I don't know if I've ever told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again. When I was 14 years old, and I was working at the Unicorn's Lair, and we were having a dart gun fight in the shop, in the game room after hours, like way late. It was like 10, 11 o'clock at night. And we were just goofing off. I had the keys, which was kind of weird that a 14-year-old had the keys, or was it Debbie? Either way, we had the keys to the place. We were goofing off. Probably shouldn't have been there. And I found this little white dice bag, and it had my 30-sided die that I still have, but it had two of these 4-sided dice. Okay, now by looking at it, you can tell it's glow in the dark plastic, right? It's got that off white sort of color, right? Well, these 4-sided dice also glow in the dark, but this glows green. This actually glows blue, and that in 1979 or 80 was insanely a very very rare thing. Even to this day, if you try to find vintage or anything that glows in the dark but not green, you'll be hard pressed to find it. And I found that bag, and it had two of those four sided eyes. And somehow over the years, I lost one, or someone swiped it, more likely. And I managed to hold on to that for, you know, over 40 years in my box of glow in the dark dice, because I've seen like all kinds of things. I've been suckered more times than I can count. Buying glow in the dark paint, especially the craft paint. It's like pink or it's blue, but then when you turn out the lights, the glow is green, and so everything just glows green. It's like, what's the freaking point? But I did find, and you can find yourselves out there. There's a couple of places that sell paint, and I got some right here. It's all dried out, but I'll just reactivate it with water. You look at it, it looks like it's going to glow green, but nope, it will glow blue. And this little tiny little bottle of paint, when I got it, and I used it very very sparingly, so little that and I've had it for so long that it's dried out into a rock, and I've had to add water and mush it up like three times. This will probably be my third time that I'm going to add water to it and mix it up, because I'm thinking these guys, they deserve a little something special. Why not? Um, but it's weird, you can find stuff that glow in the dark in other colors besides that green, but the hardest one to find is red. Everything that says it's red glow in the dark paint, it's pink or it's orange. I mean, I'm not blind. I might, you know, I can tell the difference, but I get it. I paint it. I wait for it to dry. It's pink or it's freaking orange, and I'm like, I want fuck. I'm not going to get into the boy girl blue pink thing, but I don't want pink. When I want something to glow red, I want it to be terrifying, not like silly or whatever. Feminine. I want it to be like molten red, evil energy kind of illumination. And no, they won't let me have it. Can't have those. Can't have that. Nope. I'll keep looking, searching the internet. Eventually, I'll find something, because there's just something about it. I've got a neon or a black light bulb right here, just for those occasions when I paint something in a neon color and I want to see what it's going to look like in the black light. Many of you might remember, or like maybe like one. Back in the day, uh, there were certain kind of people that had the black light posters, and they partook in certain kinds of activities. One of those activities, though, was playing Dungeons and Dragons in the dark. Uh, yes, it can. Yes, it can. Um, and we would have our black lights and our black light posters, and then we'd have like our black light D&D game board, and everything painted up in neon colors, so they would have that trippy effect, while we were playing some D&D, being naughty. Glow paint would be cool for eyes, weapons, and light sources. Yeah, it really is. And on the rare occasion that you spark one up and play in the dark, it makes for an interesting situation. Just a visually, kind of like quasi wizards, Fritz the Cat kind of look to everything. Glowing and bright, contrasted by the darkness. And if you happen to be wearing a white shirt, you've ever been like to Disneyland, and there's a couple of rides, Alice in Wonderland for starters, Mr. Toad's, Peter Pan, those little like kiddie rides. Well, if you notice and you ever go in those, and Adventures Through Inner Space when they had that, but now it's, I think, Star Tours. Uh, there were a lot of black lights and black light ink used on all the props and things that would move, and try to scare you on the rides. And if you wore a white shirt, you just like, it's like a beacon of just like this weird glow effect. Richard, how you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Just
I'm just
go down memory lane, talking about some goofy shit that us Californians did back in the day. You ever been to Disneyland?
the one in Florida, yes, but
Did
not
they have that's Disney World? Did they have the Alice
yeah,
in Wonderland ride?
not sure.
Okay. Did they have any of those rides with the black lights in them, so that like your white shirt would suddenly start like
Oh
glowing?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
okay,
yeah. I'm pretty sure like the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, there might be some of
okay.
that. I think you see that in the Finding Nemo ride also.
Oh, okay, okay. Cold Iron. I've been to Disneyland a lot, many times in my life, and only one time did I ever regret it. It was fun. Last time, mind you, I went was over 25 years ago. I never got to go with Jackie, which was a shame. But we did Knott's Berry Farm. But even back when Jackie was a little kid, Disneyland was just um, unrecognizable. I mean, I went when I was 3, 4 years old, all the way up until my mid 20s, and it had changed for the worse.
Yeah, I've never been to the one in California. We have a timeshare at Disney. We have the vacation club. We
Oh,
have
really?
it
That's
in,
cool.
we have it until like 2075, something
Oh,
crazy like
wow.
that. Yeah, that was the fastest thing I think we've ever paid off. We don't use it as often as we used to, but you get to bank your points and stuff. And so my younger daughter has gone there during spring break with a couple friends now, like the last 2 years,
And it's
2 or 3 years.
insanely expensive, right?
Well, no, because like I said, the timeshare, which is already paid off,
No,
all
no,
she
no.
pays
I
for
mean
is food.
every little thing else.
Yeah, if you're going there and if you're spending off of the food plan and just there and
Hmm.
you're doing a bunch of other stuff, but our timeshare includes one park visit a day
Hmm.
built in,
Hmm.
for you know
That's cool.
for everybody. So it's really it's a less expensive. I think it's less expensive for us, especially if we drive there.
Hmm.
Even though it's a long haul from New York to Florida, but it's a less expensive than when we go to the Bahamas, um, which we've been going to, almost every year now. So it all plays out. It's every vacation is like $5,000 now, regardless of where you go. It's like,
Yeah,
and you have
I'm
a
just
family of four. You
for,
have a family of four. The biggest thing is now food. Food is just expensive as
when
hell.
last time I went to Disneyland in the '90s. It was like $2.50 for a bottle of water that wasn't even refrigerated,
Yeah,
which at the time cost 10 cents. If you
yeah,
wanted a lemonade, it was $5. Dinner, no, not even dinner. It was breakfast for me, my ex girlfriend, and her kid, and it was $50 in the '90s, and all we got were pancakes, bacon, and eggs. You know,
yeah,
it was like, fuck this.
yeah.
I'm never
Food has
coming back.
got yeah. Food, on vacation, food like we're going to the Bahamas next week, and we're staying at the Chinese resort, right? So it's called Baha Mar, because we
Hmm.
always used to go to the Atlantis. So we're going there, and I mean, a steak, and just the small size steaks are like the cheapest that they are is like $95. You know, um, so you will spend per person $95, and that's getting the cheapest cut. The most
That's
expensive steak is like 200. You know,
Yeah,
and that's
I
like,
just can't
nah,
do that.
it's like, not for a ribeye. I was like, I don't care how big it is. It's not worth 200,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but there's places in New York City where it's like 250,
Of course,
for yeah.
even here where I live, if I go to the Yard House, I think it is, which is not a big fancy place. It's more of a like a bar and grill.
Yeah, yeah, we have a yard house here too. Yeah. I
It's
like
like
the place.
$100 for a steak.
How much?
About 100.
Yeah, that's expensive. I mean, there's places in the Bahamas where the steak is like 65, 70. So this place a little bit more expensive, but that was last year, so maybe they've all
Mhm.
gone up. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a lot of fun to go. That's the first time staying at that resort. It's a very fancy resort. They do a huge celebration of both the 4th of July and then their independence. The Bahamas Independence Day is the 10th, July 10th. So I
nice.
was there. I was at the barber today trying to figure out, like, I wonder why they spend such a big time, celebrating the 4th of July. And then I was like, well, they probably, I was talking to the barber and I said, it's probably because they know where their money is coming from. They know that it's mostly American tourists. And I said, well, wait a second, we have something in common. We both revolted against the British, and so that's our. I says, maybe that's what it is that, and they happen to be the same week. So it's
Mhm.
like,
And that
not in the
must have been a
year,
hell
but
of a
the
month
same.
for the Brits back then, right?
Well, no, no, yeah, yeah, I guess so. But I mean, they're obviously separated by probably about 100 or 200 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Separated, but
Wouldn't that be fucked up if it wasn't though? If it was like the same year.
yeah. Well, yeah. Well, no, no, there was certainly a domino effect of, across um all of the European powers. Like, the United States was the exemplar. I mean, it was the first. We were the first colonies to break away from a European um, you know,
Hmm.
European kingship. It had never been done before, before that. They might have had their own civil wars and you had things like that, but
Hmm.
we were the first time a far flung, colony broke away. And others modeled there, the Russian, I'm sorry, the French Revolution was modeled after the American Revolution, which is why they gave us the Statue of Liberty. Um, and I'm sure others kind of modeled after that as well. But anyway, enough of the history lesson. So, yeah, we're
Not wrong,
we're
Stephen.
I think we're playing tonight, and
Yeah.
we'll be running. We'll see if it wraps up tonight. Hopefully, it does. Hopefully, we can put a bow on that campaign and see how it goes. We'll run longer if need be, and it should wrap it up pretty nicely. I know I got a few little things to tweak out with the encounters and such, but it should be fun. And then, like I said, I'll be gone for the week. And then when I come back, we start the new Greyhawk campaign on Tuesdays,
Hmm.
which you are
Okay.
welcome to join. Just
Yeah, I'm trying to find out what's going on with my schedule and the boy and all
but
that
that's
stuff.
not until September, so
Yeah,
you'll have 6 weeks.
there's a good chance I'll be able to make it. I'm just not sure. Also, what I would play. I'm tired of
Well,
playing
you
fighter.
tell me. I
Um,
mean, it's an urban
how many people are playing right
campaign.
now?
What?
How many people are in the game for sure?
For sure, 7,
Okay.
possibly an eighth. So you would be 9. I'm okay with 9 people. I mean, I've had as many as 10.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's got to be rough though, because like Bubba's
No, it's
game
not.
last night was 6 or 7. I
It's
forget.
not because there's always somebody who can't make it.
Right.
And with
Even
an
then.
urban campaign, it corrects that issue because it's very easy to explain away why one or
Oh yeah,
two
yeah,
or
yeah,
even
yeah.
3 characters aren't there. Oh, they hung out in the bar and they have a hangover and they're not coming back. You know, um,
Uh-huh.
There will only be certain times when everyone is going, far out of the, castle, or actually out of the city of Greyhawk to do an adventure that is someplace, distant, where it'll become a little bit harder to explain, well, why isn't this character here? But
Hmm.
but yeah, no, it's meant to where you can have a number of characters, and as long as there's, as long as there's like three or four, I can run it. Yeah, so there'll be no stopping because somebody isn't there. That I'm not going to do anymore.
Yeah,
And if I have to miss it, I'm going to look to schedule something that same week when we can all come together and still run something that same week, which I used to do anyway. I used to do that with the AD&D campaign,
mhm.
and it worked out pretty well. I think in the 2 years and 4 months that we ran that campaign, I think we only genuinely missed 3 sessions in all of that time. The rest
And
of the
I
time, it
think,
was like a
yeah,
makeup.
yeah, I'm always pretty good for being there. I think
Yeah,
in
no,
your
no,
games,
you're always there. I'm not worried about you.
I the only time I missed any games in the last couple of years um, was right after my surgery, and I couldn't talk. So it was like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that was a year ago, July, and since then I don't think I've missed but one. I didn't miss it. I got there really late, but I got there so late that I was kind of the deciding factor on why they didn't play.
Well, so let me ask
Nerdy.
you, what character class would you rule out straight out, and
I
why?
never run clerics. I never ever run clerics.
Any reason why, or
Religious.
oh,
I just
all right.
I can't pretend to get into other gods. I just can't do it, man. I've done it. I can occasionally play a druid, and have fun doing that, but it's just um, it's I don't know. It seems to me like besides religious reasons, the gods that I come across in books are just so like anemic and just paper thin in the lore about them, and it's like yeah, I do it too. Most people just don't really care that much, and there's never really any interaction. You don't really talk to them. You know,
No, what I do, not that I'm trying to convince you to play a cleric, but I have found that the way to really connect someone running a cleric as a player character is to require that they demonstrate the domains almost every day. All right. So if you're, and if you don't, you're not getting your spells the next day. You know what I'm saying? So if you're following the god of, you know, if you're following the god of magic, right?
mhm.
Well, you have to, and they're usually not just like a single thing. It's like magic, knowledge, logic, something along those lines. Well, then for you as a priest of that deity, then you obviously have to use some kind of magic every day. You
Yeah.
have to gain some kind of knowledge every day, or pass on some kind of knowledge every day. You have to basically demonstrate those domains every single day. All right. And it becomes an aspect of role playing. You know, I think one of my best experiences of role playing was I played probably for like the first time in a long time, decades. I
Mhm.
played a lawful good cleric. And I think I finally, with that character, I think I finally nailed what lawful good was meant to be. You know what I'm saying? It's
It's
like,
not easy. It's not easy. It's not what
no,
most people
and
think.
it's
That's for
like,
certain.
and I kind of stumbled upon it, and the way I realized that my character was genuinely lawful good was because when I didn't go with my gut feeling and I followed what the rest of the party did, you know, I regretted it the whole time. I felt like I broke character. And it was the first
Mhm.
time I realized I was like, this character broke alignment in not just saying, no, we're doing this first and then we'll go do that. It was like a side quest that was like, have to go save somebody kind of thing,
Mhm.
and it was
Okay.
like, no, we have our mission to do. We're going to do this. This is a pressing issue and we don't have time for the side thing, even though I was pretty convinced that the side thing wouldn't have taken us that long. And so I was like, I buckled and I went with them and did their thing. And then when we went back to see what happened, of course, what we feared would happen happened, right? And the village was damaged or whatever. And me, I just, I was like, wow,
Lost it.
that really did, it really did impress upon me. I was like, next time I will never do that again. I will walk down that path alone and leave the rest of the party to go do their own thing. But that's what I'm going to do, and like I said, it was the first time I really felt like alignment made a difference.
Yep. Yeah, it's for some people they excel at that.
Hmm.
Um, and uh, Sean, not to belabor the point, but there always should have been a dedicated healing profession from the very beginning. Like the healer from Dragon Magazine, so there could
Hmm.
be someone. Because trust me, there would have been people who would have been, like the field surgeon, even the mad scientist to later levels, because there was a lot of
Yeah.
cool things you could do. But someone who was like a cat gut needle sawbones kind of doctor who might or might not have actually had some healing spells because of
Right.
the mechanical reasons. Instead of clerics doing that, but without that, um, game theory and all the math point to the most logical freaking choice of having your cleric take advantage of the freaking cure light wound spell
Hmm.
as much and as often as absolutely necessary, regardless of all other considerations. It's just pure math, logic, and game theory. And you can play and fight against that, but if you did the simulations, you'd find out that those who didn't, stock up on cure light wounds would survive a lot less. It's just math. You lose
Yeah.
hit
Well,
points,
that's the
get them back.
that's not the flaw of the class. That's the flaw
No,
of the Vancian magic system.
well, no, it's the flaw of not having a healer so that you could dedicate
No,
the
no, I'm
cleric.
saying is that, like, if you had a cleric and you did not have the Vancian magic system, then a cleric has the full access to all of their spells. You know what I'm saying? So all of their first level spells, so that they can cast a bless spell now and the light spell later, cure a
Mhm.
light wound, and then later on a light spell, let's say, or and then back to bless and then back to a cure light wound. You know what I'm saying? They're not limited by saying, well, I've memorized these three spells, or I can only cast these three first level spells, for the rest of the day or
Mhm.
whatever. No, it's like the Vancian system. That is the problem with the Vancian system. Now, what I do with Castles and Crusades, because you have more healer classes in Castles,
Mm.
even illusionists can heal.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a bizarre way that
Well,
they explain it.
here's the funny thing about the whole thing with hit points. Okay, in the most basic, I forget what exactly how it was put in White Box, but in AD&D, hit points were not just physical meat. They were this thing called luck and endurance and a bunch of arbitrary, sort of like intangible qualities that we never took damage for. We never took luck damage. I've never seen anybody use any exhaustion rules when it came to hit point loss. If folks did that, and then had the ability to recover the same kind of losses, the game would have played a lot differently. I think. Well, obviously, um, but it would have made people, a lot more careful than just going up. Cure. I'm just going to memorize 3 cure light wounds for the day, and that's it. That's all I got. That's what. When they run out, we run out, etc. Versus none whatsoever. If you took healing out of the game, in the way of like healing magic, it would have been a completely different uh, dynamic. People would have played uh, a lot more realistically, and
Yeah,
not
well,
so
they do.
hard.
I mean, like certain systems, like Castles and Crusades has a first aid like secondary skill where you can heal up 1 to 2 points of damage,
Mhm.
and everybody is capable of doing that.
Yeah,
They
all the bandage rules I've seen, they're a really simple stopgap, but
Yeah,
you know,
and players also
it
have
should have
to, you know, players also have to be willing to continue adventuring even though they're a couple points away from maximum. You know what I'm saying? Like because I've seen that. Well, I'm gonna wait. I was like, what are you waiting for? And not in my own group here. I'm just saying in general, over the
been.
years, I've had
Mm,
players that, it's like, oh, I'm 3 points away from my maximum. I want to wait another day. No, it's like that's just not, consequences will happen for delaying another day just because you're a couple hit points away. you know that's like the football player not taking the field because they got a bruise. I mean, how many football players have actually gone out in the field with like a broken foot, and still played, or a dislocated thumb. I mean, yeah, not a quarterback, but you know what I'm saying.
right, right.
It's
Oh
like
yeah,
they
the adrenaline
yeah,
can keep you
they
from
go
even
out there and
knowing
they
that that's
do what
happened.
needs to get done. So I think players also need to be, not so afraid of going out there at less than optimum, and that's another thing as well.
You're not wrong, uh, Julia. But here's the thing. Too many people despise the idea of fighting logically and not charging into every battle. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen what could have been an absolute freaking one-sided battle had the party stayed in
Mhm.
formation for it to turn into a complete rout because one or two of the fighters just ran forward because they think that's what they're supposed to do. No, you hold the line. You let the bad guys come to you every time. And while that's happening, your spellcasters in the back use any bless or buff spells they've got. It gives them more time to do that, and then any missile, firing characters, they launch their missiles as the bad guys come to you. Anything other than that is asking for really, really negative consequences. If you just do those 3 things every single time, you will you'll win more often than you'll be worried about the needing the cure light wounds or having to be sneaky. You build a formation, especially around a doorway. You open the door, you see the monsters. Okay, main fighter in front, fighter on the left, fighter on the right. One goblin comes forward, 3 people attack him. But no, everybody runs into the room as fast as they can to be the first guy in the room to, and I do it too. But I run characters with 5 wisdoms on purpose, um, and you'll just walk away every time with barely a scratch because your heaviest fighter, heaviest armored fighter is up front, making the chances of any actual hits by the bad guys less because they're up against a fighter, and even chainmail and a shield and a decent dex, could put his armor class up to 3, 2, 1, whatever you're using, the old, Thaco, and they're just going to miss, and then three fighters, or a fighter, a cleric, and maybe somebody else are just like wailing on that poor guy who rushed through the door to meet you, and then he dies, and then the next one comes, and then the next one comes, until they figure it out. And then if they figure it out, you close the door and go to the next room. Spike their doors shut. Okay, well, you're not coming out to play with us. You can stay in your room until dinner. Everybody's like, what? Yes, they do, because a couple of things, Sean. I think video games have taught people to play dumb, because you're going to get away with it, because you're the big fighter, you're destined to win. And if the worst things happen and your character dies in the video game, you just hit respawn and you're back. No consequences whatsoever, in a lot of early video gaming. And in even in fantasy role playing, I'll just make up another character, no big deal, or you'll just drag me back to town, raise dead, I'll be fine. It is, but if you look at, and we're able to collate data from the entire gaming population who've ever played role playing games, you'd find all of those flaws were more common than not. And when you bring a group together, I've even seen it in your game, Bloodworth, where the fighters, or the fighterly types, refuse to like fight smart. They just, no, I want to run forward and charge into the combat, because I can't die and I want all the glory. And it's not like you're giving out XP for the kill like in the old days. If you killed it, you got the XP. So that also encouraged that bad behavior. It's like, well, if we share the kill, then I got to share the XP. But if I kill him myself, I get the 32 XP all to my lonesome, and that's what I want. So that's why they played that way, versus nowadays, where, well, we'll just split up the XP, and so who didn't do shit the whole game, maybe even that last three games, just like watch from the background, just like twiddling their thumbs, like, I'm out of spells, I can't do anything, and there's lots you can do. You just don't want to risk your scrawny neck. And they still got the XP. That's why I keep track. You killed this, you get that. You killed this, you get that. You found that, you get that. You know, because otherwise you will get those. We used to call them sponges, because they just sit back and gain XP for not doing anything. Yeah, yeah. Well, see, Merlin, here's the problem. People lie during session zero. That's why I haven't run any games in a while, besides the one where I've got vetted players. People lie about what they want. Oh yeah, I'm a role player. I want lots of role playing. And then when people role play, like, hey, can we get back to the game? Right? You know, that's why Gandalf wanted to solo the Balrog. Yes, 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 yes. Because when you're that level, and it takes 225,000 XP to go up a level. Yeah, I'm going to take on the Type 6 demon myself too. I can handle this. Yeah, I get it, Sean. It's people just not being honest. If you're that kind of player, or you want that kind of experience, just tell me. And you know what? There may be the right game for you, and have a whole crew of people that play the same way and are okay with that. But when you've got like 60-40 or a 50-50 mix or whatever, and it's not an even group where you can cater to each kind of play style, you get games that fall apart real quick, because that one guy who's like butt hurt because the players aren't playing his way, like, well, I can't make it, and then after three can't make it, so you never hear from them again. Certainly, but sometimes, Sean, uh, it's a choice between having a game and not having a game. Sometimes you have to concede to what the players want, or you have no players. You shouldn't have to, but again, people, especially online, when you're playing in person, again, totally different. They're not even the same hobby, as far as I'm concerned. At this point, playing online versus playing in person, people have to behave differently and can get away with some things and not, and vice versa. I'd rather have a game than not, but I'd rather have a game with the people that want to do the same thing together. But you're never going to get that 100%. But 60-40 to 75% is what I shoot for. A bit of a rest and you'll be all right. Yeah, I don't do that. I don't do the. I mean, you can decide to like in the middle of a dungeon or adventure, like okay, well, it's like 11 o'clock, but we're all out of hit points. We're not going any further. We're going to stay right here, camp, and just hang out. And then when night comes, we'll get our rest. In the meantime, we'll tell stories and cook and sharpen our weapons or find things to do uh, because we're not going further. It's just dumb. We're not going to keep walking forward into the unknown when we're all at like 25% hit points. You just you know and you're not wrong, Sean.
Yeah.
It's why it would just it would be nice if people would just be honest about themselves and honest about what they want, and don't be embarrassed. If you all you want is a kick in the door, kill the monster, take the stuff, rinse and repeat. There's a whole lot of people that want the same thing. There's a lot of people that just want to run those kind of games. You know, no plot, no storytelling, no. Everybody in town is a faceless, nameless nobody. Their name is, you know, shopkeeper. Lots of people want that. They don't care. They just want to, kill monsters. Cool. But then there's people who want, something a little more.
Mhm. Yeah, but if you interrupt that rest that Merlin was mentioning, right? So 5e long rest. If you
Yeah.
interrupt it often enough, it then becomes something that is you'll be looked at as like, oh, you're never letting me, you're never letting us reset. You're never letting. That's why I'm like so excited about an urban campaign because it is very easy for them to say, all right, we're going to come back to this, and then I can just, you know, come up with stuff that they're doing, heading back to the inn or whatever, or going to
Mhm.
their chateau, which they'll have bought by the time they're probably second or third level, so that they're not living out of the common room of the inn for too long.
Hell, my character in Bubba's game isn't even doing that. I've got a bedroll. I'm sleeping outside under a tree. If anybody gives me any trouble, I tell them to piss off. I
Yeah.
mean, 2 games, and I've now acquired a total of 30 gold, and some. I'm literally counting the copper and silver. 2 sessions, I've got 30 gold, maybe even less. Trying to
What game
save
system?
a Dragon Slayer.
All right.
But mind you, we've got like 9 players. So last night's game, we found 100 gold pieces worth of treasure to divide by 6 people. And before we even did that, we had to pay 10%. So we split 90 gold, and that was our biggest haul so far. And I'm just saving up to buy a dog. You know, so that when I sleep out in the woods, I got somebody to help keep me warm and watch my back, so to speak. It's like freaking mud sword to the extreme. But it's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna
It's
be
nothing-
I'm gonna be much more liberal with that kind of thing. Unfortunate word, but gonna be much more liberal with that kind of thing. It's just that when your characters do gain great wealth, that great wealth is going to bring some negative consequences for having it. You know, I have a system devised where it's like you're going to start generating reputation based on the gear that you're carrying. So it's
Mhm.
and that reputation isn't like, oh, look, he has a +3 sword. It's like, look, he has a +3 sword. We can take that for ourselves, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's going to
Yeah,
start to
it's
become.
funny. It's funny when people start talking like that, like NPCs. I'm like, Well, which NPC is going to get it? Which one is going to have to fight the other NPCs after they get it to keep it?
Oh yeah, but
Like,
it's still going to be a, you know, if you're in a, especially like an urban setting, and you're in like a capital city like Greyhawk,
mhm.
there's always somebody more powerful than you. You know, saying, that's the
Right.
thing to
That's
remember.
that's well. It depends on the game you're playing because, like in D&D, if everybody, 99% of the population has 2 to 5 hit points, games can play a lot differently than
Oh yeah,
when you never know who you're talking to, and there's a better than average chance that they're higher level than you. Like what was it, Village of Hamlet? Like everybody was higher level than you when you walked into the place.
yeah.
Uh,
And you
so you
had
learn real
factions
quick
within
not
the
to screw
village of
around.
Omelet that were, you know, that there were a number of things. But yeah, when you're first level, there's going to be a lot of NPCs that are going to be, not just higher than you, but much much higher than you. But
And
and
I
that'll
kind
be
of
the thing.
prefer
Like,
I kind of prefer that as much as I love AD&D. I do like the idea that like when I was growing up as a kid, everybody was higher level than me. When I was a teenager, everybody was higher level than me. Now that I'm almost 60, everybody's lower level than me.
yeah,
That's just the way it is. The world, it's not fair, it's not even, it's not equitable. Wake up, put your helmet on, and see what life's got to offer today. The
so
world
yeah,
is your
so I
oyster,
mean, with my
and
clerics, I run
seafood
clerics
sucks.
in my game a lot differently. Magic users, I'm handling a lot differently than I've done in the past.
Yeah.
I don't think you like magic users either. So,
No, what I don't like is having to roll to cast my spell. I fucking hate that because I was spoiled for 20 plus years where I can cast this spell. I don't have to roll to see if I succeed. I just cast it. That was the trade off for having 4 hit points, not being able to use a sword, wear armor, or generally be useful. Except a couple of times a day, I could knock off a spell and save the day and make the party cheer. But for the most part, I'm hiding like a coward in the back row, praying to God I don't get randomly hit by an arrow and taken out for the majority of the game. You know,
yeah, but roll to cast is usually like you get to reuse the spell. It just didn't work.
right.
Um,
That's still that to me. To me, it's not the same, but it feels like okay. I'm a fighter. Okay, roll to see if you can use your sword, then roll to hit. I know it's not the same, but it's that kind of,
mhm.
well, you can't just do it. You got to see if you can do it. Well, what do you mean? I've studied my whole life to cast magic missile. Now, if I'm interrupted or jostled or something like that, not a problem. I should lose the spell, not even have to roll. But if
Right.
I'm hiding in the back and I look up and go, should be just that's it. Um, and that's the way it was, and it was fine like that all the way through 2E, which was almost what half of the game history was that you could just cast your spell. Even in Palladium, you just cast your spell. You run out of points or you run out of spells, but you just do it. You don't have to like see if you do it, and that
Mm.
is to me like yeah, because I know how the dice work. I was keeping track of my hits in your last game. I couldn't even hit at the end. I was hitting real good on that last game. But for the majority, I missed, and I could count on missing more than I could ever count on hitting. And knowing that, it's better to do stuff and only not waste my time like trying to do something that I have a 75% chance of failure. That's dumb. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah,
that's a
that's what
waste
you
of
have
time.
to, like that's why like character classes that aren't martial classes, and they
Mhm.
don't get a lot of chances to to hit with an advantage, like a +1, +2, +3,
Yeah, yeah,
like
or
a
any.
thief or something like that. I
Yeah,
mean, the,
they're not meant to. That's
yeah, the
why they
great
got the.
equalizer of that is to have to utilize weapons that that allow for more than one attack, per round. I mean, that's why magic users take darts. You can throw three
Or in the old,
darts.
yeah, that's just another thing I really hate. Modern games back in the day, just about everybody could fire two arrows around just cause.
Yeah.
And suddenly one. I'm like, what? Wait, what? One? You
Well,
know,
that's because they put in specialization in it and such, and it became too powerful to be able to. But a short bow should be twice per round. Um, like I said, darts were always three. Um, I
or
think
knives, daggers. You
eh,
could throw two daggers too.
yeah, you could throw two daggers around too. Yes.
And if you let a magic user throw two daggers around, to me, darts were kind of silly. I mean, I realize they're not, the pub darts, but it's still, if you think about trying to carry lawn darts around, that's not an easy thing, you know. But if you kind of, voice it that way, they're like they're like lawn darts. You're like, oh well, shit, and I can throw two of those around. I'm doing that. Screw the
Yeah.
staff,
Oh yeah.
you
No,
know.
that the darts in AD&D First Edition were like the great choice for magic users, because once you they did as much damage as like a magic missile, or pretty darn close, and they got three attacks for per round.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
always been
and
like, I've always told magic users, hey, you know what, your second attribute that you should be boosting up has always
it,
been dexterity.
oh yeah, yeah.
It's
That's it.
always been dexterity. Having a +1 in constitution, having an extra hit point is not going to do you any great deal. Having a +1 to armor class, and then
And yeah.
being a little bit more proficient with missile weapons, that's the way to go.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely. The other thing I'm thinking of, with with these guys, is that magic users should have options of their robes or whatever that will give them a little bit more protection than just being naked. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it should be like a +1 to AC, for heavy robes or something like that. So I'm
Well, I
going
mean,
to.
look at like there's a perfect example. Amazing Adventures or even Castles and Crusade, had stackable armor. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And a lot of games I've seen, like just a trench coat is like a +1 or +2 to your armor class. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter what you're wearing. You throw the trench coat on top of whatever, and suddenly you get a +1 or a +2,
Yeah, I
which
allow for
is
heavy
kind of
clothing,
weird.
or furs or
Because
whatever to
after a
count as
certain
like a light armor.
point, I don't think things should stack. You're because you while you may be harder to wound, which is a whole different discussion. You're now easier to hit because you're walking around. You're barely able to move with all your encumbered, layers. You know what I mean? It's like the little kid. When mama dresses him up to go out in the snow and he can't move his arms. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Oh yeah,
It's like you're
I've
wearing
been
too
like
much.
trying to discourage people from wearing full plate mail. It's like there are downsides to that you have to bear in mind. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Well, okay, right off the bat, there's so many misconceptions. For the most part, full plate armor and even plate mail and stuff like that, when they existed, was for the aristocracy or the wealthy, and they weren't walking. They had people who practically hoisted them up on a horse, and it was the poor horse's job to do the walking.
yeah,
Or they had guard duty and they just stood there, and you never saw them changing the guard duty because they couldn't move. They're just
yeah,
there. They just permanently fixture. People open it up, feed them, go around back, and change their diaper, and that was it. Running around in a dungeon, in even chainmail. Chainmail is freaking heavy. Don't buy into the bull crap. It's freaking heavy. I've got a plate carrier that's a metal plate, and I kid you not, when I bought it, right, I bought it at the gun show. Just carrying it around on my arm, because I swear to God, the thing weighed like 35 pounds. I was just like dripping in sweat, just like looking at like, can I hurry up and leave now? Because I was just carrying around just a 35-pound weight. Walking around the swap meet, the gun show. It was miserable. I was like, imagine wearing this dumb thing, and I have. It's freaking heavy. I don't want to do anything. I'm standing here. Hopefully, nothing bad's happening because, I'm not running. And if I do, it's going to be like 8 feet, and then hopefully I'm around the corner where I can huff and puff for a while. That
Yeah.
shit is
So
heavy. Dragon Slayer, Bubba, was when we were playing the fighters after like 5 turns. All right, you got to take a break. I'm like, what? Oh yeah, you're tired from the armor. I'm like, makes sense. All right, I can
yeah,
sit down. I can eat. Whittle stick or eat an apple or something. All right, sounds good. Makes sense.
yeah, I like that because it's going to. And actually, I wasn't even thinking of doing that, but now you got me thinking I should. with with the Castles and Crusades one is just incorporate that into there. Um, but I'm kind of incorporating that in a sense anyway. Like I don't
Sorry,
want
I'm
people,
behind on the chat.
say again.
I'm a little behind in the chat.
Okay.
Got to keep up with these guys. They're like freaking typing away. Yeah, haste is nasty. My players won't even take a speed potion. They're like, nope, not doing it. Nope, not nope. Just sell it. We're not doing the haste because spending a year of one's life for one bonus in combat, which is a healthy bonus. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
because they just won't do it. It's been so long since anybody was like, yeah, I'll drink. I'm going to drink the speed potion. I'll age the year. They're just like, no,
Well, for an elf, it's
it,
not too bad, but
it's too finite a resource, to spend that willy nilly. Obviously, if you're, it's a life or death. Like, there's only one way out, and even then,
yeah.
it's like we're we're screwed. We're surrounded by vampires or something.
Oh,
It's like, all right, everything, drinking everything, man. Two-fisted potion drinking, and hope for the best. I'm joking, of course. Um,
well, I'm waiting for my first player to, playing a cleric that actually has access to a resurrection spell, and if they're looking to resurrect somebody, I'll say, okay, you cast a resurrection spell. Now you have to save versus death, or your character dies.
yep.
Right? It's like that's the risk. Or when they're coming to a high priest and asking for the same thing, it's like you better be more important than that cleric. That high priest values him or herself because they're not casting it unless you can prove that you're more valuable than them.
Yeah, and doesn't am I misremembering? But isn't like a lot or most magic armors like reduced weight as well, which makes it worthwhile?
Yes.
It makes it like, oh yeah, I want that freaking +1 chainmail.
Yeah.
Because
Oh
that's
yeah,
that
yeah. It is, but there's not really any mechanic built to it for
right,
that. So you have to build that into your encumbrance system
which would be
because
phenomenal in a game like Dragon Slayer where every 5 turns you gotta
yeah,
sit
I,
and
I
rest.
have I have that built into the campaign I'm going to run because
I know, Merlin. That's why I was joking about the two-fisted potion drinking.
yeah.
Funny story though. We had a situation where someone knew the Dungeon Master's Guide really, 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 really well, and managed to finagle a crap ton of potions. I mean, like hundreds of the same kind of
Hmm.
potion, and figured out a way to make a permanent giant strength potion
Hmm.
just by the sheer chance. I know it's only like a one
Right.
in 100 chance, But if you've got like two or three, 400 potions, and you know what you're doing, and you figure out a way to do it correctly, you can get away with murder.
Right. So, well, I got the inspector, an electrical inspector coming soon.
Oh
So
no,
he nope. So he'll be here in a little bit. So I don't have to run just yet, but
appreciate it.
just letting you know. So let's see. So again, if you were to play a character class, what character class would you want to play?
Um,
Considering an urban setting.
Probably thief. That's what I'm best at when it comes to uh, castles and crusades. Um,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna like try to do the split class thing because
I've never been a
it,
big fan of that anyway.
I absolutely love it. It's my favorite, but it's best in small groups where it actually makes more sense. When you've got 9 players, it's like
Yeah,
there's no shortage of anything. You're just trying to double dip to make sure you're constantly doing stuff. And slow down, guy. You're still getting the same XP no matter what you do. So, yeah,
yeah,
barbarian.
and a large party. The only thing you want to really double up on is possibly cleric, but
Mhm.
I still wouldn't say having two heal bots. I would say one is a heal bot and the other one is a buffer. Kind of setup.
Yep, yep, yep.
But yeah, I could see like Castles and Crusades has an urban ranger, which is basically the pacer, which is a really cool class, and I'm glad that Lee is going to be playing that. So she has a pretty cool character set up for that. Um, let's see, OGGM is playing a cleric of what is it? Narebo, which is like kind of like a god of fortune and everything. So he has to gamble a lot, all right, because that's part of their thing,
Yeah, that
So
sounds like right up OG's
yeah,
alley.
yeah. So I can see him doing a great deal with that. Mirador is playing an elf magi, which is basically like basically like the classic, elf character class, but it's not quite the same as being a fighter magic user. A little bit different. Tim, who you know from his other thing, but Tim is
I hang out
playing.
with Timmy almost every day.
Yeah, so he is playing an arcane thief, which is a true arcane thief. They're not using magic to enhance their theft. They are stealing magic. You know what I'm
Yeah, yeah,
saying?
yeah. I like
Which
the
is a
other way around,
really
but
cool
it does sound
class.
it sounds interesting, but it also sounds vampiric, and I'm not into that.
It depends on how. Like I told them that there are things that, because they're kind of an outcast from the schools of magic.
Yeah, they're psychic
Um,
freaking vampires. What are you talking about, man? They're
yeah,
stealing freaking memories and soul energy and shit. Yeah, they need to be expunged from the earth. Maybe I'll run a
yeah.
ballot and just go pick on Timmy.
Well,
Pick on Timmy.
the street lights in the city of Greyhawk are magic. In certain neighborhoods, in the upper class neighborhoods, they're magic, and so they'll have a thing where they're always looking for these magic thieves to be stealing the light, stealing the energy
Stealing the
from
light
those
bulbs,
things.
or are they just stealing the copper because they're all
No,
methed
no, no,
out?
they're stealing the magic that is actually in them.
No, I was just making
So
a California joke.
yeah. So, oh yeah, stealing copper is a big thing. But who else is playing what? Yeah, then there's the basic fighter. There is a rogue in the group. I think he's dwarven. Dwarven. They have a good mix of, they have a good mix of character races that they're playing too. There's like maybe two gnomes. Yeah, there's two gnomes. The arcane thief is a gnome, and the pacer is a gnome. Mm. I'm sorry, Leah's playing a half elf
Hmm.
pacer, which works out great. I used Staccato's change for Ranger, so that Ranger isn't a strength based primary. Rangers a wisdom based primary because all of the Ranger skills are based on wisdom. So I was like, all right, that makes more
And
sense
if it
anyway.
wasn't wisdom, it would be Constitution or
Yeah,
Dex,
but it
depending.
but it was
Like
primarily
if you're an
wisdom. Is all of
archer,
their tracking and
that.
everything like that is wisdom based.
Mhm. Maybe it was a typo, or they're just being dumb. I doesn't
No, yeah,
make
they're
any.
they're. I don't think that I don't think that they all like think through every decision that they
No,
make there.
no.
Yeah. So
Like the
let's see.
aforementioned Amazing Adventures that should have been amazing and was amazing for some things. Just that one thing was
Yeah, no,
so
that was my fault.
broken.
That was definitely my fault because kind of I mixed too many different genres into one thing.
No, 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 no,
And
no, 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 no. The game is meant for that. It was that one particular genre, that one particular mechanic, made everything so made it literally harder than it is in the real world to put together your basic fucking bitch radio. I mean, I was watching a video the other day on Foxhole Radio. You know what those are?
yeah,
It's just some copper wires
yeah, yeah,
and some know-how. I'm like, you're kidding
yeah.
me, right?
Well, yeah, it was their gadgetry system that was kind of broken
Yeah.
because they again they tried to make gadgetry the getting spells and acquiring new spells
Yeah, just because you
because
could buy a can opener, that's not a magical effect, and it's
yeah,
not
yeah,
comparable.
and that was the flaw of that system was
Well,
that
because
they
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 were
just
too
cut and paste
afraid.
Castles and Crusades to a system that A should not have been class based. All right. B, it should have been
Yeah, I mean, remember in Villains and Vigilantes, any character could just invent some crazy shit. You didn't
right.
even need to have any skill. You just like, oh, I've got an inventing percentage of 37. I'm going to try and make web shooters. All right, go for it.
Yeah.
They forget the basic thing about people, humans. We're really good at this one thing, and it's called making shit. It's like
Yeah.
our
Well,
best
the
quality, and they tried to
Gadgeteer
penalize
class.
it beyond recognition or
Yeah,
fairness.
like a tinker doesn't have a limit on how much that
He
that
can
character can create.
right.
And that was the problem with the gadgeteer was you could only create one thing and then maybe every level you can enhance that or you can make a new gadget
And
which
if it was on the shelf, you couldn't. It would be better to just buy it off the shelf than try to make it. Even if it was
yeah,
like the basic bitch radios we were trying to get, should have just been able to just buy those off the shelf. It shouldn't have been like a scientific breakthrough. Like I created the first radio. I am Marconi. No, I'm just Fred off down the street.
yeah,
It's like
yeah. No, you're right. There was a lot of things I want to mess around with because they do have what's it's called comrades and it's a modern warfare, kind of like a Twilight 2000
oh okay okay.
setting for it. They're coming out with a new one this week, for the 4th of July, obviously, and so they're going to have that come out. I got to
Have
move
you
over
have you
here.
seen the? They also have another one that my friend Mark sent me, and I have never been able to find it. But it's like a Star Wars Castles and Crusade, high space
Yeah,
fantasy.
I have that.
That one looks.
I have that. I have that on. I have
PDF.
that on PDF. Yeah,
Yeah, same here, same
I
here.
forget what it's
Um,
called.
yeah, it looked really fun, kind of Starfinder ish, but
They're
you know,
supposed to come out with a pirate one too.
I just backed the outgunned pirate game, and I know I won't even run that. I just backed it because I'm stupid. Um, I backed all four of the Outgunned Adventure Kickstarters because they just look freaking so much fun, and they look like they'd be a really, really fun game to play in person. Playing online, forget it. There's too many cards and tokens and chips and bullshit. But they look like a lot of fun. I backed all four of them. They're gorgeous, and they're going to sit on a shelf until I have three or four suckers. I mean, players who want to come over and play any one of those genres because I've got like action adventure movies. I've got um, the Mummy, Indiana Jones era. I'll have pirates. I've got superheroes coming next week. I've got it all except D&D fantasy, and I think you could do that with one or the other, and it's a very like dynamic, fast paced, in your face, in person kind of game with you know a lot of ways to like keep it really exciting, but you can't do that online. You just can't. It's like everybody's just like, I'm chill, man. I just had like four martinis. Slow your roll. Um, yeah, I don't even know why I backed the pirate game, because I know it might be like a mini quest in a game, but like a whole campaign. I kind of burnt that out with my D&D game after 2.5, almost 3 years. My players are like, yeah, okay, we get it. It was fun, high seas, blah blah blah. Let's try to stay on some dry land for a while. Maybe do a mega dungeon or something. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll give it a try and see if I can run one of those uh, outgun games online. But again, I don't know anybody's even talked about it except RPG Elite. You ever watch him?
Yeah.
Not very often though, right? We lose you, Bloodworth. We may have lost his. He may have lost his connection. But yeah, they're like I said, they've got like uh, different tokens that go to different players. To show that you've got like this special thing you can do. In an emergency, there's different there's several decks of cards for encounters and actions and things like that, and it's very fast paced. Regardless of the game, and it's not really meant for like really long. They've like doubled it instead of like the 6 games and you're done. It's like they go, you do 12, and then if you want to go, you start up a new campaign after that. I'm like 12 sessions. That's what 2.5 months, right? I'm like, yeah. If we can't like sign in blood for like a year,
Can you hear me or no? No.
we can now. We can now. Oh no, we can't because you're not here. Um, you can come on back, Bloodworth. I know you said you had to. There he is.
Hear anything? I
Yeah,
couldn't.
yeah, yeah. You're back. You're back. We can hear
Yeah.
you now.
Um. Yeah. So the last thing you mentioned was the Castles and Crusades, the Star Wars kind of thing. What did you just mention just prior to this?
Outgunned Adventure.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. No, but you were
it,
mentioning
it was a
something, and I was going
big.
to
It was a
say
big
something.
Euro indie thing. It's
No,
really big.
I'm familiar with it. I know that Outgunned. A lot of people talk about it. Um, what the hell was
But
I
it's
just going to
just
say?
unplayable online. Because of the fast-paced nature
I
and
see.
and all the different spotlight tokens and things like that. Where
Yeah.
here you get this thing and you can use this to change
Mm.
whatever's going on, and just a lot of mechanics that are meant for like, let's go 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 go. We play for 2 hours and then we'll see you in a week. And then they play for like 12 sessions and then the campaign's over because
Yeah.
after like 12 sessions you're just like exhausted, like, okay, I'm fucking done, you know um, but it looks like a lot of fun. It
Yeah.
like almost like a kind of a party atmosphere, if you can imagine playing like categories or something like that
Mm.
with a bunch of people hooting and hollering the whole time, as a role-playing game. clearly like a younger crowd thing, and definitely a Euro game thing. But
Yeah.
everything I saw about it, there's a lot of things that kind of inspired me to try to do some things similar but not identical. And
Right.
I'm a sucker for like stretch goals. When a Kickstarter's like, oh, we've got this stretch goal, but if we make it to the next one, we get this stretch goal. You know, and I'm like, I'm
Right.
already going to probably be in it, but I'll watch the hype for the stretch goals. And like when that Kickstarter ended, it took okay, like I forget which, like it wasn't Kickstarter, it was like Game Found or something. They have this thing where if people keep dropping money, they'll extend it. They call it like overtime.
Mm.
They'll extend the deadline of the Kickstarter, and it went on for like 8 hours of people just dropping in like $5. So these two game designers had to stay on live to keep that going for like 8 hours. You know what I mean? And I
Well,
was
yeah.
watching.
Well, yeah. Kickstarters don't end. Like I just backed Agile Monk's Kickstarter, right?
Oh, okay,
You know.
I didn't know about it.
Yeah. So, oh my God, how did you not know about that? I was talking about it for
I
like three
honestly, I
months.
just met the guy recently. To be
Yeah.
honest,
So anyway, you gotta watch my channel more. That's what it is. Um, but anyway, like he's still gaining, like over the, met the goal of the Kickstarter and still gaining, since then. I was like, that's because there's a natural, like, once you put in your dollar, let's say,
mm-hmm.
until it's fulfilled, you can always increase the amount.
Yep.
Even after it has closed, you can
Mm-hmm.
always increase the amount and buy up, well, you can take out of it,
Right.
right? Once it's already collected, but you can always expand it even after it's been collected. You
Mm-hmm.
can add to your pledge later on. And
Yeah.
that's what they, he's starting to realize. It was like, oh my gosh, it's like, because if I wanted to switch and look at something else, I'm on my iPad. So, but
And then
anyway,
when the companies have like secret stretch goals, we're not going to tell you what it is until right before we get
no,
there.
that's stupid. They shouldn't do that.
I
But
mean,
I remember
it's
what we were
addictive,
talking about
and it
before then.
works.
So you were talking about RPG Elite. The
Yes.
reason why I watched him in the very beginning when he first started out, and he
Mhm.
was mostly Gamma World, I believe he was really pushing.
Yeah,
Gamma
he's a big
World was his
superhero
big
guy
thing.
too.
Yeah, so he was a big Gamma World guy, and I was watching him, and it was interesting. And then when J. Scott Garibay not attacked him, but basically said he's wasting his time and that he should be bringing his basically his black voice to D&D, because that's essentially what what Garibay was saying,
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah,
that, oh, his much needed black voice is needed at needed with 5e. And so all of a sudden, like a whole bunch of us just started subscribing to him
yeah,
to boost. And so he went from, like, he went from 50 subs to 15,000 in a
yeah,
blink of an eye, in
yeah,
like a week and a half, and his whole, RPG Elite's whole attitude, I think, changed with that. You
yeah,
know what I'm
yeah. Well,
saying?
I watched his most recent video, and he said, on camera, "This is a business. I'm doing this as a business." I'm like,
Yes.
"Sorry, dude,
And
you lost
I
me."
think it lost a lot of, I think it lost a lot of, he let it get to his head, number one.
Well, no,
And
he
I
let
think,
it get to his wallet, and he
well, yeah,
decided
that too, but I mean,
he
he
decided to
certainly let it
base
get to
his
his head, and he let it get to, he let the elite kind of stick in a little bit to his, to his approach,
in detriment.
yeah,
I'm not here to finance your career. If you entertain me, if you
exactly. Yes. It's
educate
like,
me, awesome. But if you
right.
start telling me you rely on my viewership to pay your bills,
Yeah.
you have made a crucial error in
Yeah.
your life decisions. This is a hobby. This is a game. This
Yeah.
is a thing to do out of pleasure and love, not to fill your bank account. As soon as you turn something you love into a business, you run the risk of hating and destroying the thing you love in ways you cannot imagine and you'll regret for the rest of your days. Hence why I do everything I do for free. If I ever got monetized, which I hope we do, but it'll just be, because YouTube, does the thing. I'm not going to do the Patreon. I'm not going to ask for, buy me a coffee, any of that crap. I buy my own damn coffee, if I ever, want coffee. I'm not going to be out there begging and having my hat in my hand. I'll go get a job. I'll make way more
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Just get a freaking
Yeah.
get a job. I don't care if it's freaking cleaning shit out of the street. Get a job until you can't get a job, till you can't, do something. And at which point, if you can't find anything, then move.
Yeah. No, I'm the same way. It's like, yeah, I'm monetized. I make a little bit. It's not anything that's going to make or break me. If it ended tomorrow, I'd be like, all right, you know what? I'm going to end up buying less games. Basically, that's the, you
Right.
know,
And then when I see, people, like poor mouthing, we call it, but then they're showing off new stuff. I'm like, well, do you ever think about not buying anything for a while?
yeah,
Maybe like save up some money, or stock up on food, or stop buying new T-shirts and new games to review. You got games. Review the old games. Go back and do
yeah,
something that doesn't cost you any money. But still might bring you in views and things like that and keep you busy, instead of putting yourself in jeopardy,
yeah,
because they're going to turn off the electric, because you didn't
yeah.
pay the
No,
bill.
I like I said, I don't. I'm not so concerned about it. Like you know, I've been attacked for that too. It's like I've had people, oh, you're a retiree. Well, people, one person, you're a retiree. You don't need this. So why are you doing this? It's like because it's a
Because I want to. It's
it's a
America.
hobby. It's a
Well, who the
hobby.
fuck are
It's like
you to
no,
tell me
no,
what I can
I'm
and
not.
can't do unless you're the government or the law?
Yeah, yeah. That person attacked both me and Eric Tankar because we're both retirees, and he
Same here. I've
was
been retired for over 25 years, dude. Um,
yeah, and he was so pissed off that he was doing this to try to make money, and it was like I don't have to. And it was like that, but that's the reason. Like I was taking his space. It was like no, the internet. One thing about the internet is it's near infinite space.
full, yeah, right.
you
Your
know?
support is mandatory under penalty of being shamed by an internet nobody. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
give fucks. And yes, go everybody when we're done here. Go over to Mage's Musings and give them a thumbs up and binge watch as much as you can today. Uh, hear ye by the
yeah,
order of
yeah.
whatever the
Well,
freak.
that's like the whole thing with like those dungeon tubers, right? That were like, oh my views are down. It's like, well, sure,
Good.
your views are down because you're talking about a 10-year-old game, now 12-year-old game system that everybody and you've been talking about that 12-year-old game system every freaking day for all of that time, and there's still, no matter what how you slice it, there's still just those three core rule books, and
Mhm.
and adventure paths after that. And I mean, who needs to hear? And there's five other of you. It's like, do you think that your 100,000 subscribers are different than the 100,000 subscribers that are with the Professor Dungeon Master or Bob the World Builder or what? It was like they're all the same freaking people. It's like once
Mhm.
all of you say the same thing, they don't need to hear it again. All right, my guy is here, so I'm gonna run.
Peace. I'll see you
Take it
tonight,
easy.
brother. Take care. Yeah. You guys know except my morning videos that I try to and even then, You guys would be amazed how many times, like the idea, whatever it is that that video is, I just thought of 30 minutes before recording it. I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Eureka! I get this moment. Sometimes I'll like, uh, have notes of things I want to do a video on, and I'll scratch them off as I do them. But sometimes, like, there's ideas on here that have been here for 6 months. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that one either. I want to do that one, but I don't have the materials. And then I'll have a conversation with you guys, and then come up with something, or something happens. Yeah, I have never read a 5e book, or a 3.5 book. I read part of the PDF when I was in Bruce's game, but it was just the Paladin. I only looked at the Paladin. That's what I was playing. I didn't care. I honestly, I thought that Bruce's game was going to be a party of paladins, and he's like, "Oh no, 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 this is not that." Oh yeah, and we kind of don't really do role playing either because there's a couple of people that don't like role playing. What the fuck? What the hell? Oh, so we're playing a miniature war game. Oh, okay. Well, then I should have run, something else, not a paladin, because I'm here, with my A game trying to be all paladinly, and um, yeah. But I don't do any. I've never read anything Wizards of the Coast had to say ever, except maybe on the back of a pack of miniatures. I might have read the thing on the back, but I don't care. Same with 3.5. I'm usually into really really old stuff that nobody's ever heard of, and I like to share it with you guys. Or when something really new comes out that's like really still like outgunned adventure, like probably nobody here has ever heard of it. They don't care. It's like whatever, or this old shit that I showed off this morning from 1979. Most people don't care. I'm just showing you, what's in Casa de Shadow, Casa de Sombre, whatever. Some of the stuff that I've done and that I've collected over the years, and that maybe one or two of you might, maybe on a full moon, go, "Oh yeah, I did that too," but you know, chances are probably not. The fact that you guys are still here is absolutely awesome. I don't hate. I don't know anything about it to hate it. What I hate is the shit that has come out of the mouths of the people who, you know, wrote it, put it together. Telling people like me to get the fuck out of the hobby. Nope, not gonna do it. Um, Even when I die, I'm gonna come back as some sort of undead, spectral, freaking internet entity to torment those kind of people if there's any justice in this world or the next. But I don't care what you play. Play whatever the hell you want. You know, just don't invite me to any of the weird shit. None of that. Not safe for work kind of stuff or whatever. Um, let's just freaking go kill some orcs or something. Uh, yeah, I probably inadvertently, like I played Call of Cthulhu Roll 20 edition. I don't know who made that or what. We had fun with that. It was okay. I played what was it? Knights of the Old Republic. I want to say that was like 3.5. That was a video game. It was based on like the 3.5 or the third edition rules. I don't know. It was fun. It's my favorite RPG online, video game. But it wasn't because of the rules. It was because of the story, and the way the interaction with the NPCs was actually better than a lot of other games. I'm sure it's better since then, but I haven't seen anything. What's up, George, my man? How you doing? I Daryl says I saw for the first time the setting that came with 4E. It was a nice looking map. Never looked at it. Never, you know, 1E wasn't broken for me. I still run it. I still play it. I still play it wrong, but I still have a handful of friends that are still willing to show up on Sunday and continue the game until we don't want to or can't, in which case I'll use Sundays for some other game. And I'm sure 3 out of 4 of them will be on board for that just because we've been doing it for, 3 years, We can always play something else. Maybe one of them will run something. I'd be cool with that too. And just like any other game, I'll try to be there. On time, ready to play. I am toying with some ideas of some things I might want to run. I definitely want to play test and run through the Red Room's new version of their country, Western game. I definitely want to see some High Plains drifters on the trail of a vampire or a werewolf across the Texas New Mexico deserts. I may run a sci-fi game. I may even run that. Uh, was it you, Daryl? Was it your idea? I almost want to say it was you. Run the like spy versus spy, but medieval fantasy like espionage game where they're a bunch of player characters all work for like the king as his secret order of spies to go and do secret squirrel shit. Have an assassin, a paladin, a thief, a magic user, a cleric, a druid. All as they work for the king, and they got to do the stuff. And yes, an assassin and a paladin in the same party, because why the hell not? If the king says, "I dub thee assassin, you are now my royal court assassin, and I dub thee Sir Jason, of the Argonauts, you're my loyal trusty paladin, and I'm only going to send you on missions of lawful goodliness for the kingdom." I can see it being, okay, and not too mind exploding. Knights of the Old Republic was better than most films, most of the film, except for the original trilogy. Oh my god, that's so true. Just the whole everything. It was just everything about it. It was, I could play that game and forget that it was even Star Wars. You know what I mean? It was so good and so like, you know, just so full of everything and kept you busy and you could I mean you could spend lots of time trying not to follow the quest and the mission and the path. You could go off playing the dumb card game, or you could do pod racing, or you could just go back and forth to places trying to kill off monsters for treasure and stuff like that. I made a character that was for the Red Room game. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't have my copy. It's supposed to be here like right around the 4th of July, which I'm like, yes. Uh, oh man, you hate that? You can feel it. It's coming. Dun, 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 dun. The sneeze is coming. You can't do anything with it. Sitting like a deer in the headlights, waiting for it to hit you in the face. Um, but yeah, those are the games I'm kind of vying towards. Omen might be running Mutant Crawl Classics on Saturday nights. Um, that could be fun. I'll have to go see if I do in fact have that. Squirrel, you out there? Is that one of the games you sent me? Because it's not on my shelf where that stuff is. I might have put it in the other room. Then my soundboard crashed on my PC. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, bro. But was that you who suggested running that when I was talking about the top secret administrator's guide, running a spy game but for fantasy, or was that somebody else? I'll have to go look, but I think that could be actually kind of fun. That way they're not starting like Mud Sword, which I don't like. And this way I can like, yeah, yeah, okay. And for tonight's mission, you're getting this nifty, magical crossbow with special crossbow bolts, but you got to go over and do this weird thing and climb up this thing, and then hopefully assassinate this evil wizard, who's been mucking about in the kingdom, stuff like that, or go and investigate the whatever to see, if there's a cult going on and who's a member of it, and you just kind of, I've never played Assassin's Creed, but I kind of like the idea of an order, a group of people that the king says, hey, you guys are doing the stuff. Uh, for me, specifically for me, which makes them kind of feel kind of special and not so much like the peasants that just got lucky, because they whatever. These are like chosen elite, but still first level, so they can kind of like feel like they're not playing with the stingiest DM ever, you know. Because it's not going to break my games, if everybody started out with. I mean, literally, if I started a party out, first level party, with the +5 plate mail and +5 holy avengers, that wouldn't. I could still run that game, and it would still be a challenge. It'd still be like, damn, dude, we almost died. Yeah, because you know how to create an encounter that's that'll work and not be like instant death, but at the same time, I try to make it like literally kind of 50-50 when it's a planned, like you're in the dungeon kind of thing. When you're outdoors, you might run into Godzilla and your Bambi today. But when you're in a dungeon, I've always felt that it's, I have to use the word fair. I know a lot of people don't, life's not fair. Yeah, but if I like kind of, show you that there's this dungeon within your distance and you could go there and, you know, you know, you know, you're not going to walk in and the very first step in, you're disintegrated from a, 40th level lich. That would be, completely bad form. It's like all of the first level modules, right, that we ever played and loved, you weren't going to find like a 10th level monster in there. You're going to find, maybe a 4th level monster is going to kick your ass, or if the whole party had to like, gang up on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus Splinter kind of thing, or run away from. But not like, you're trapped in a room and there's a freaking ancient red dragon and it's a first level dungeon. No, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to make it kind of, 50-50. You might make it, you might not. Not a guaranteed you will, and not a guaranteed you're going to die, because both are, pointless. And why bother? You just go freaking do anything else, after you're done beating up the dungeon master, which would be deserved. My character was a spy, but I didn't get to play. Well, Daryl, I don't know when I would run this spy game, but if you're interested and you can get your tech all fixed up and stuff, um, let me know. If I ran it, it would probably be, um, can't do Monday, can't do Tuesday, can't do Wednesday. I probably wouldn't do it Friday because I know I'd be stepping on the toes of some of my friends who might want to play. Um, so that really only leaves Thursday, which, as we all know, is the cursed night for all games. You try to run a game on Thursday night, it's gonna fail, right, folks? Am I right? You guys ever tried to run a game on Thursday night? Just, just not gonna happen. It's really not gonna happen. Um, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe Wednesdays if we don't end up doing the Knights of Columbus thing. Me and the son, me and my boy. If we don't end up doing that, I might be able to do it Wednesday, which would give me a game on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday if I join Bloodworth's game. Because if I can, I will Bloodworth. Um, but I would like to run more than one game a week. Oh, someone's back. Imagine that.
Now I'm back.
Cool, cool.
So, this is the most insane thing I've ever. I mean, just ridiculous thing I've ever seen. So
What
you
do I
come
do now?
here, right? So I had the new central air system put in. So upstairs, the building inspector was like, "Oh, they didn't put a particular cover on one of the outlets or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't even add. I thought it was like one of those covers that's like the flip down cover or something like that. It was a freaking outlet plate, like those little plastic outlet plates that you freaking screw on with 2 screws. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, why the frick didn't he just tell me that to begin with? I would have had that done. Didn't have to wait all freaking morning for this guy to show up to do something that literally took him 3 minutes. Literally took him 3 minutes to do it. I was like, what the
I think it's
hell?
called job security.
Yeah, I know. It was like, well, yeah, that guy. It's a funny story because that guy that was he's the replacement for the other guy. Our town had a building inspector who's a good friend of mine actually, and they looked to get rid of him, although they found
Mm.
that they couldn't right now, because he's a government employee, and they just tried to summarily dismiss him. And they were dismissing him because we just recently built a new town hall, and so he was the inspector for the town hall, and he found like 5 violations, and said, no, you can't occupy until these things are fixed. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? And it was like, so they wanted to get rid of him because he was, being thorough. So
Doing his job in
yeah,
today's day and age, what was he thinking?
so the new guy came in, and so
Clearly, he
he
doesn't work for the
at my
government.
thing, and I guess an outlet cover was enough for him to say, "Oh, you know what? That's a code violation. You need to have an outlet cover on there." But he never
Yeah,
said it was an outlet cover.
I can buy that, but what I can't buy is that he doesn't send you a freaking photograph on his phone saying, "Hey,
This is
if
what you need. Do it yourself. Yeah.
right, you absolute putz, you literally couldn't do that. The
All
like,
you had to do was say you need an outlet cover that's the two outlets and then the switch, because that's what it is. It's the side by side in the switch. That's how it's set up there. And I'm like,
and you guys are all fancy. Ours have one screw, you
well,
know.
well, this is because it's what is it, two? I think it's two screws for this one because it's a landscaped one,
Okay.
so it's got to be two. But anyway, I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, all of this shit for. I literally, he was supposed to be here from 8 to 9, and since that's my daughter's room, she had to make sure she was up,
Did
and
he
it
need
has there.
help? Did he need someone to help him hold the screwdriver too?
No, no, he no, the electrician did fine. He was like, "Wow, this is my easiest call,
Yeah, but
easiest call of the month." I
you
was like,
could
"I'm
have just
sure it
you
was."
could have done it yourself. Sent him a photograph. All done. Don't waste
Yeah.
your time. I got
Oh
shit to
no,
do.
the guy's not even going to do any follow up. They have no clue because he never called them and said they have to come and redo it, or do the job, finish the job. No, I had to set that whole thing up myself. He's not going to do any follow up. Hey, did you get, did they come and fix it? No, it was all bullshit. But I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my god, I had
And
to,
it's not
I,
even Friday,
I had to cut my live stream, chatting with a friend for this nonsense.
And it's not even Friday. I mean, I could see that shit, on a Friday or a Monday because you're a lazy bitch, you
Mm,
know. And you want to scoot out or have a light day, right before the weekend, or something. But it's freaking Tuesday.
mm.
What's tomorrow gonna be like, you lazy bastard? You know, you gonna
I don't
call
know.
in,
It's
you gonna
it's.
call in sick because you stubbed your toe. Jesus Christ, have some freaking. Oh my God, don't even
So
get me started.
anyway, so yep. So now I'm free until like I think my wife wants to go to like a Costco's, like a wholesaler at 4 o'clock.
Well,
So
in about 4 minutes, I am going to have to hit the road.
yeah,
I appreciate you coming back.
but oh yeah,
Um,
no, just wanted to check in. So we will. Yeah. So yeah, think about what kind of a. I mean, I think I mentioned to you a jester might be, or a bard. Bards and castles and crusades are much different than bards and D&D anyway.
mhm.
A bard might not be too bad either.
I could see doing that,
Well,
but
just do you have the adventurer's backpack?
nope.
No.
All I've got is the out of date CNC you sent me back in the day. That's what I've been using.
Yeah, that's all you have to use anyway. Well, look through there and see if a character class really hits you. And like I said, it's going to be It's going to be faster pace, faster paced leveling up than previously, less tedious for me to calculate experience points and everything because all of it is going to be preset. So if there's 10 rooms in the lair and you've accomplished 7 of the 10 rooms, like you've actually engaged with 7 of the 10 rooms,
Hmm.
then you've defeated the lair and you're going to get the lair experience points, and
Gotcha.
you know, you will have gathered along the way the treasure that was in those rooms, provided you can carry it all. So that's the other thing. You will have to be a little bit more because I am holding people to encumbrance.
Uh-huh.
So you won't have to, but that's where your henchmen come in.
I
That's
was
where
just going
your
to ask how are henchmen and everybody's favorite dogs.
yes.
Dogs have become
So
real
yeah,
popular lately
that's where
everywhere I
your
go.
henchmen are going to come in. That's where you're. Oh well, you know what? We'll have to come back, and then when you come back to clear out, the place might be
Restocked?
repopulated, or it might be abandoned, or it might be whatever. You won't
Ah,
know
man.
exactly what you're going to go into when you go back in there. Somebody else might have seized the opportunity to take it over, and you find out that you're encountering something completely different. So, and I'm going to
Okay.
run this campaign a lot more episodic, where, like I said, you're in a city, so you can always return back to your headquarters or whatever it's going to be, at least
Mhm.
initially, and then decide, well, you know what, we're not going to go back there. We're going to go do this instead. Just let me know a week ahead of time so I can,
Right? Oh man,
kind of plot it out. But
that's kind
but
of such a dick
and
move.
see,
I mean, it's never really happened to me, but like once or twice, But it's kind of a dick move. Uh, take care, Sean. Maybe we'll see you tomorrow.
yeah.
Maybe we'll talk some AD
So
and D
being
some
an OSC
serious
dude,
story.
as soon as it
Um,
feels like a tuber isn't being authentic about the dollar side, it's hard to keep watching. This is a real gamer talk. Nice chat to listen to. Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, because we talk about the games that we're actually playing too. And I
right, right.
know I know that Shadow had mentioned previously. He was like, I got a whole bunch of stuff behind me that I want to run. And that's the other thing. It's like, you know what? I'm starting to, like, I have a big collection, and my bucket list is to at least have run like 60% of it, which is, you know, like, I run a lot of different systems,
Mhm.
so eventually I think I could hit 60%, but there's some that are just not worth me running.
Yeah,
They're
I can't picture.
like,
I've
I
got
don't
this
think
one.
I will never run Doom. Even though I got the whole freaking set and everything like that, I will never run Doom. I just tried reading through the book. I was like, I don't want to have to read the novels in this form just to get, there's just too much background information. It's like, when the hell do you get to the rules of the game? Um,
Here's
yeah,
another one just like that. I dig the books.
yeah,
Uh, I'm never going to run this. I don't want to run this. I
yeah,
almost want to sell this, but
yeah,
I know that it's worth like so much freaking money, because I've got all the supplements and just like, I, you know,
yeah,
I could sell this and go out and buy a Desert Eagle.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
California prices.
yeah,
Okay. Uh, I've already got a Desert Eagle, but I wouldn't mind having two.
yeah.
Um,
It's,
but it's the most ridiculous thing I could trade it for. But I could do that. I could literally sell
yeah,
that and go out and do that or something. Maybe a used jet ski or something.
right. Yeah,
Um,
no, it's,
but I'm
it's,
never going to play it. But I don't want to get rid of it
there's
just
quite
yet.
a number of games that I will never play. I will never play the Dying Earth for DCC.
Oh, dude, I'm looking right at it. Squirrel
Yeah,
sent
I
me.
got the whole box of it, and I'm like,
Me too.
I'll never run this. I'll never run DCC.
You know what though? I may never run it, but I am reading every last page because I love Dying Earth, and I love the idea of playing a Thundar the Barbarian, Dying Earth kind of game, Gamma World, whatever
Yeah.
mechanics I use. Just probably, maybe I could use Mutant Crawl Classics. That's why I'm giving Omen the chance. I'm like,
Right.
let's see how it plays. If it's too like mutiny, where you sneeze and you get a new tentacle kind of game, no. But if it's like you're set here, and if you're not careful, maybe on a full moon you might get a new mutation.
Mm.
Okay. But there's all kinds of cool robots and tentacle monsters and princesses to save and weird shit like that. Okay, cool. But we'll see. It's a big stack. Squirrel sent me the 2 Dying Earth boxes and something else, and then I went and actually bought the Dungeon Crawl Classic Lankmar, everything Lankmar, because it was on sale. And
Yeah.
I know you're not a big fan.
Yeah, I'm looking to see what else I have for that. No, I just have the
You know what we
DCC
should
and I
do?
have
We should make up a bucket list and a reverse bucket list. Top 10 things we're never going to run, never, no matter
that
how
we
much
have
you
in our
pay us.
collection. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But we have to. We
We'll
have to
definitely do
own it.
that. The reason why I wanted to talk to you, I got the Emperor's Choice guys coming on my channel on August 2nd.
I'll be there.
Sunday, August 2nd, 7 o'clock Eastern time. So that would be 4 o'clock your time.
Ooh, what day of the week?
Sunday.
Ooh, shit! That's what my game is, man. Oh, I'll talk to the boys and see if they mind. Because
Are you running a game
be,
at 4 o'clock in the afternoon?
no, it's 4:30
Oh,
Sunday.
well, hang out
4:30.
for a half hour and then switch over.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'll see how heartbroken they will be.
Yeah, because I always do 7 o'clock on Sundays because by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, everybody else is firing up their live streams and everything, and and it's like, well, then I'll just lose people.
I don't do anything live. I mean, I play live, but Sunday, it's just me and the guys.
Yeah,
gonna play some D&D.
yeah, and then I have Matthew Tapp on the 26th.
I will not be anywhere near that. You couldn't pay me for that.
Why? You don't like Barrows and Borderlands?
Long story. Can't talk about it here. I'll tell you about it in a few days. Yeah.
We'll chat later.
Well, you can actually talk to George and Dave. They can tell you more than I could. But he cost me money, and that's not cool.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a shame because the game's okay. It's up my alley, but I
hear it. Hey, you know what? We sometimes things happen. Things happen within this hobby, and as close knit as some of us smaller, fish are, in the bowl.
But it's really simple. One thing everybody should know about me: I'm loyal to a fault, and George and Dave and I have been like this since before we all met.
Yeah.
And that's going to be till my dying breath, ride or die. There's nothing they couldn't ask me that I wouldn't do for them, and vice versa. So.
No, there's some people like, there's at least one person associated with conventions and everything that I won't have anything to do with, just because, not that he used me to go after somebody else, and it was like, and then he tried to, I don't know. It's like,
Right.
You know what? Another example of somebody whose head got too big too fast, and just think.
Yeah, my head's not getting
everybody.
bigger. I started out with the big head, so it's not.
Yeah.
Really, it's just not.
Yeah,
the laws of physics don't work like that.
Yeah. So I'm, well, sorry to hear that. But again, sometimes, hey, you know what? Sometimes you can make amends down the road or whatever, and you can.
Absolutely.
Look at me in the OGGM, right? We were at some kind of a bizarre feud for like a year, for I don't even know what,
I don't really either. I have my suspicions, but it doesn't matter because
I think it was a comment that I had made.
I honestly, I think it was more. Honestly, if I had to say, it was the biggest factor was OGGM's shitty tech at the time.
Oh,
His when
his
we were when we
technology.
were
Yeah, his.
he
Oh, that's
couldn't
possible
hear
too.
he couldn't hear and be heard, and that was rough because
Well, yeah, and I think yeah. Well, hopefully
because he's a because
hopefully
not
his tech
only
is
is he
better
one of
now
the
because he's in a big group again. So
right, but he is one of the funniest guys I've ever met, and big heart, has nothing, you know, I can't say anything bad about him. I mean, we don't agree on a lot of stuff. I mean, like an amazingly large amount of stuff that we, outside of gaming, we would be like, "Ugh," not really,
yeah,
but we just put that aside. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna be friends. We're gonna do these things, and we're not gonna talk about what we do when we're not on camera because
yeah,
even though we live in the same state, and one of these days we'll have a meal together, and none of that shit will come up. I will not wear my Trump shirt, to piss him off, and he won't wear whatever he would wear to piss me off. We'll show up. We'll have a game. We'll have a meal. We'll shake hands. We'll say, "Oh, I'll see you soon," and that's
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Speaking of
No,
which,
it wasn't even a political thing. It was just a you
it
know
was tech. It
yeah.
was tech.
I just said it
And he was getting
wasn't a
frustrated. And I've been in a game with him since then. It was over 2 years. Me and RPG Grandma, Mike and Jen, Cal was playing for a while,
yeah.
and every Saturday, if you watch our silly little
Oh, you just had a glitch.
every other Saturday, we get together, and we play, and we laugh our asses off.
Yeah.
Uh, you should. He actually had AI write a song for my character
Mm-hmm.
because my character is Nori, the lazy ninja in Shadowdark,
Mm-hmm.
and he wrote this Scooby Doo. He had AI write this Scooby Doo song
Yeah.
for my character because he'd already written one for, or had AI write one, whatever you want to call it,
Mm.
for a previous character. We were playing it every time we started the game and every time we ended the game. He played this song. Well, he surprised the shit out of me with this song, and it starts in the early part of last week's game. Dude, I had never been made fun of in such a classy, funny dude. I was laughing my ass off the
Yeah.
freaking time. It was just like, oh my god, he got all these little jabs at me,
Mm.
because I fell asleep in a couple of his games on Saturday because I was
Mm.
just exhausted from doing honeydew list stuff before the game. The wife's like, "We gotta do this, we gotta do this." And I get back to the game, get back home. I'm sitting in my chair. I'm just like, finally I can relax. We can play this live on freaking, just like
Yeah. No,
So
I'm really looking forward to this. Looking forward. Oh, you
and
keep
now
on
it's just
glitching. It's either you
it,
or me. I think it's you.
it's the internet telling me it's time to
Yeah.
go. I got to do stuff.
Yeah. So I'm
Uh,
really looking forward to it. So I hope you join, and you're welcome to
I
join
hope
in
I hope
anytime
I
you
can
like.
too. Uh, just don't it's up here. I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to make it
Yeah.
work. And what's up, James? Just in time for me to
Just in
say
time for him to
adios.
check out. Well, James,
James, maybe I'll come
if
say
you
hi to
start a
you.
live stream, James, I'll jump in on your live stream. So go right ahead, James, and start your painting in Hyperborea. I'll jump in. You take care, Shadow.
You too, everybody else out there in TV land, have yourself a wonderful day. We love you
You have
guys.
a great
We'll
one.
see
Take
you
care.
tomorrow or later tonight.
Whenever.
Who
Yeah.
knows? It's this weird world. Adios, folks. I'm a